Hey folks, welcome to Fair. Thank you for joining us tonight. I would first of all like to apologise for my lack of flounce. I am feeling quite poorly. My beautiful, loving daughter decided to give me the tummy bug she was out of play school with for nearly a week. The joys of having a daughter who is very much a daddy's girl and likes to spend her time licking your face, sticking her fist in your mouth, giving you lots of hugs, wiping her snotty nose in your clothes. You, when she has something, I get it too. So anyway, I may have to suddenly and abruptly run off camera for a moment during the stream. I hope I don't, but if I do, our wonderful players can keep the story going. Okay, so hello and welcome to Fair. My name is Neil, my pronouns are he, him, and I am the creator of this indie TTRPG set in a 19th century Earth where all the creatures from folklore and fairy tale are real, have always been real, and live alongside humanity. Our game is set in the year 1872. It's approximately 6 or 7 months since the combined might of France and Prussia lost in a pretty devastating war against the Fey nation of Arcadia, which is nestled in between those two regions. A party of players have been travelling around for some time, but for the last while have found themselves in Paris. And for the last couple of sessions, the last day or so in game, they have been exploring the Parisian catacombs, trying to find a friend of theirs who had decided to run off with a man that she has fallen in love with. But enough about me. I will let one of our players give us a recap of our last session.
Who is that gonna be? I don't know. I can try, but I'll probably forget to use my inspiration die. That's the problem. I always forget to do it. I think I only used it like once out of like 5 times. I did
You
the recap.
remember it the last time.
Did I?
Yes.
But I don't think I could actually use it. Could I?
In your defense, Justine, because of the way your character is made, you actually don't make as much ability checks as some of the other characters like
Yeah.
Rena and Aminata.
It's
Casters tend not to have, unless you have a caster like Sylvia who's now using the spell feats. So
Yeah.
while you give
So
that
maybe.
recap, I'm going to run off and I'll be back in 2 seconds.
So maybe Sylvia, maybe you do the recap because I probably
okay.
won't be able to use the thing.
So Aminata tried to tried to track the necromancer after making sure that we were all okay. Gwen brought Sylvia back from brink of death. Aminata found a passageway, but that he would have disappeared through, but couldn't figure out the mechanism to open it. So decided to make their way back to the party. We carried on walking and then heard Astrid and Delacourt talking just in time to hear us Astrid screaming because these uh, squash grey ugly creatures with crab claws, razor sharp teeth were attacking them. Hilarity ensued. Delacour was revealed to be a Lutien. Sylvia grudgingly healed him. He went down, but thankfully Astrid just happened to have a healing potion. We managed, and then Delacour used fairy darts, which really spooked all of them because they realized, oh, we're fighting a true fae, and they liked it. And that, I think, is where we left off.
Yeah. So
Did I
what
leave
I was
anything out?
no, I think that's it. What I was thinking though, since Neil is not here, um, so she obviously knows who he is and what his true identity is. So I expected a different reaction. In fairness, I expected a completely
Oh,
different reaction. So I'm thinking, could it be that she's under some sort of a spell? Maybe.
I don't know. I think, well, like I think she actually is in love with him, but
Yeah.
um, did she know that he was a Lutien? Who knows? I don't know if
Yeah.
she knows if she knew that. I do think that she genuinely does
Hmm.
care for him, and she's in her
Yeah.
probably in her right mind. Like Sylvia having run away from home to go and be with her
Yeah.
beloved herself is 100%
Yeah.
not going to fucking judge. And if she
Yeah.
did, she wouldn't have a leg to stand on. It'd be like, you're one to fucking talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's more pissed. She's more coming from the perspective to Delacourt of, why the fuck did you bring Astrid down into the catacombs? You knew it was going to be really fucking
anything good.
dangerous.
It's just
You
she
knew it
had
was
her-
going to be really dangerous. Why would
Yeah.
you bring her into the catacombs?
Yeah.
I did my recap.
Yes. Hello. So Sylvia did the recap. We decided that it makes more sense if she does it.
Well, Sylvia,
okay.
you get the 1d8 inspiration die.
Yeah.
So, standing around the body of I think you had killed one of these creatures. These strange dwarf-like creatures with long crab or lobster-like claws. And looking at Astrid, who is fine, thankfully, and Lorraine, who is not fine. He was, in fairness, on the one hand, you were quite shocked because he's standing there still in his true form, about 25 centimeters tall, having revealed himself to be a Luthien. And so, I don't know how you feel about this. He's, on the one hand, dropped and was grievously injured, but on the other hand, he was fighting 4 of these creatures at once, and he dropped one of them on his own. He was doing quite, but nonetheless, he looks at you all. He says, "Thank you again so much for what you did. I am forever in your death. I will not forget this, and my kind have long memories. But my beloved, our plan, it was not what we had anticipated. These tunnels are not abandoned. There is many dark and dangerous things living down here. It's not safe. We must return to your mother."
Oh yeah, that was going to be my obviously, Monsieur. We have a lot of questions, and she's gonna look at him very pointedly. But I think that they can wait till we are in an environment that is less full of death.
Yes. No, I agree. And he kind of, it's like he's smelling the air, and he's maybe this way.
Maybe.
So as we're walking, Sylvia is going to just kind of fold her arms and just kind of look at him. And
so as you look, he has his hand on Astrid's elbow. He's helping her along. He's like making sure she doesn't trip or fall. He's being extremely protective of her, very gentle with her at all times.
One question that I do have.
Sorry, apologies for interrupting you. He has changed into his human-sized form now as well.
Okay. I do question your decision to undertake such an insanely dangerous journey through the catacombs.
I did not think it would be dangerous. I've heard stories of the catacombs of Paris, but I thought it was just foolish human superstitions, to be honest with you. These creatures that we just faced, I have no idea. I mean, they're obviously my kin. They're obviously Fae, but I do not know their like. I've never seen them before. And that evil man, I thought your kind had rejected those dark arcane practices centuries ago.
Most of us, yeah.
What you can see, he's now giving you a look of disapproval of, bitch, please, your species ain't exactly, it's like, he was...
Yeah, listen, I'm not tarring his species. I'm basically fucking questioning his judgment and doing such a stupid... You are going to have people who are Fae and human who do terrible things regardless.
Of course.
But I would never,
use... You would never find my kin using such magics, ever.
So I hear. I did not learn my magic from humans. I learned it from a Mosleute. So...
you learned it from a woodwife. I've met them once or twice on my travels. They are very, very wise beings of the forest.
Yeah, I've actually never met another druid.
There are some across the land. I have met them many times. The Catholic Church has the strongest sway here, and there were more druids in this land before the revolution, because the druids functioned very much as royal advisors to the monarch in matters dealing with human and fey affairs.
They were ambassadors, emissaries.
So after the revolution happened, the the newly formed government wasn't making any overtures to Arcadia or Jotunheim, and you had this new Enlightenment wave, which was, on the one hand, you had these human thinkers who, they wanted the peasantry to move away from their old superstitions, but many of their superstitions were not superstitions, they were fact, because we are real, we are not a story. So they
I see. You leave
it, it was
you,
it
you
I
leave offerings out not for the sake of superstition, because you want to pay respect to the fae that
Yes.
live on,
But the last
um,
100 years or so has been a somewhat complex change of relationships between humanity and the fae in this land, and that is why there are less druids than there was maybe a century ago.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Justina's like not having it. She's like, I feel like you're trying to divert us from a very important topic. It's all very interesting what you're saying, and I would love to talk to you about history and magic and politics and old times at another time. But right now, I have more pressing questions. Who are you, and what do you want from our friend?
My
My
name,
apologies for being rude, but I think it's a fair question to ask.
my name is Lorraine Delacour, and I, as you now know, I am a luthian, and I am in love with Astrid, and I wish to marry her. It is that simple.
I do wonder, why are you around humans, though? Not that there is anything wrong. I just think it is strange that a Lutien would randomly appear in Paris and suddenly, want to marry a human. And what was your plan?
Your accent is not Parisian. Why are you here? Your accent is not Parisian. Why are you here?
Well, I have nowhere else that I can go.
Okay, and you, mademoiselle?
I'm helping my friends, and I'm traveling with them.
I wished to travel and see more of the world. It is that simple. I wish to experience more of the world and to get a better understanding of your kind. And so I disguised myself with simple magic so I could walk amongst you, enjoying myself greatly, I must say. I was not expecting to find such a perfect, precious gem in the rough, he says as he gestures at Astrid. And she kind of blushes and, oh, you.
When Astrid, how long do you know about the true nature of Monsieur Delacour?
He came to me last night and he revealed his true form, and it was then that we decided that we wanted to flee and elope, and then after we were married, in the eyes of the church, my mother could not do anything and society could not do anything. We were worried how people would react. The sentiments of many in Paris and across France towards the Fae have changed greatly since the war, so we did not know how people would react to knowing that my beloved was a Fae creature himself.
Yeah, but Aminata's mother is a true Fae, and
Aminata's mother, she's not a European Fae, and she is a royal diplomat of a powerful West African nation.
well, there are Fae touched in Paris,
Fae touched is not the same as true Fae. You know this.
I have another question for you, Monsieur Delacour. How old are you?
I'm young by my kind. I'm only about 180 years old.
That is young for a Lutien.
It is, but I'm just worrying about Astrid's future and your future together. I'm afraid, humans are mortal, and we age and we die. That is the truth.
Yes.
And you will most likely outlive Astrid.
Of course I will, but a being such as Astrid is like a perfect rose. Their beauty is sublime and entrancing in the moment, but it cannot last. But it's the fragility that adds to the beauty. It's the temperance of it that makes you want to hold on it so tight that you never want to let go.
You've just looking at Astrid being like, is it what you want? Really?
Oh, Sylvia being a fucking romantic is just like, oh my god, but you get like, she is trying to hide that big time, like she's trying to be stone faced, but you can see her going like, oh my god, that's precious.
Justine knows for a fact that it's not something she would want for herself.
Mm.
She's trying to apply it to herself, and she's like, I don't want to be someone's cat, basically.
Mm.
I suppose you don't control who you fall in love with,
No.
you know. This is the way of it.
Whether you are human or fae, the heart wants what the heart wants. And
if you know we could control who we fell in love with, I know my life would be very, very different.
But if we could control who we fell in love with, the world would be a far more sorry and bleak place than it is.
I don't know.
Sorry. Just Sylvia's reaction, I imagine, like, don't know about that.
That has not been my experience, but fair enough.
You have
lived longer than I have.
While Astrid's life is a fraction of mine, I hope we will live a long life together and have children, and that I can still watch over and protect my children and my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren. I am fae, but I am not immortal. I will die eventually after a few centuries as well. But
Justine is like, I love books. That's simple. And books sometimes love me.
Mm-hmm.
She still remembers
that. Sometimes they try to eat your hand, but you know.
We forget and forgive.
Or is it still too soon to talk about that?
Yeah. She needs some counseling. She needs a bit of time to forgive the betrayal.
So you're walking for about 10-15 minutes until eventually Loren says, I thought I smelled some fresher air, and he points and you can see rungs leading up to a manhole, a hatch to get out from the catacombs. And so you finally get out and come out onto the street. You look like you're in a pretty nice arrondissement of the city. Not near where Amanada lives, but it looks like it's a very expensive part of the city.
Who's got a code of cleanliness? Because we're manky. Gwen has.
Does Gwen? I believe Gwen does have a.
Gwen
she does, yeah.
I believe
Gwen does. Because we're fucking manky.
She does have a comb of cleanliness. So then she hands it to you, okay? And so you get out, and people are looking at like, what the fuck? Like you're like, what are you doing in the catacombs?
We're crawling out of a sewer, and we look
basically, you're crawling out of a sewer covered in dirt and blood in a really posh part of the city. Okay, and as you're like, Gwyn gives you the comb of cleanliness, and you're brushing yourself off, you hear a masculine voice is like, Sylvia? And turning, you see a figure that you've not seen for some time. What?
I'm sorry, I'm just like, I'm absolutely gobsmacked. Sorry, who is it?
It is Tito, that strange traveler that you met previously. Remember with the merfolk, and the dragons?
Yes.
And he's kind of looking at you, kind of shocked. You know, and he's like, are you okay?
I've had better days, you know. Hopefully nothing. A good night's sleep and strong whiskey won't fix. I then passed the comb to Justine.
Forgive me, and he says, Mademoiselle, and he pulls out a beautiful ivory cone. He appears to carry one himself, and he hands it to Astrid. I says, forgive me, Mademoiselle, Monsieur, my name is Tito. I guess you would say I'm an acquaintance of Mademoiselle Sylvia and Mademoiselle Justine.
Yeah, we met in another town in a lovely little village called Cherville. So very. What brings you to Paris?
The road, you know me, I'm a traveller. I actually bumped into your friend Mina a while back.
Yeah, she unfortunately had to go back to her homes of our giants, and
Oh, is
she's
everything
too.
okay?
I hope so. She is
Okay.
very strong,
Yes.
but she wants to help her family, and
I know how strong she
fighting
is.
fighting giants is what she does. So
When I bumped into her, she was beneath the city like you, but she was boxing another man and making a lot of money.
mm,
What?
yeah, yeah. Sylvia, or she went to fight. That was when she came back, and she was injured, and
Yeah, Justine missed all of that because she's been busy. When that
Yeah.
happened, that was when Justine was making all that a
Oh.
man receptacle. She missed all of that. No one ever told her.
So Mina got quite injured. I was upset, and she brought me out for some drinks and then some more drinks. And yeah, so
Your friend, Mademoiselle
Great.
Mina, was involved in an illegal underground bare knuckle boxing tournament.
Justine is just like stops coming and she's like, the fuck? She's like, not certain. She's just like, no comments. She just like looks at everyone.
She did exceptionally well. If anything, the organisers were a bit annoyed with her for finishing her fight so quickly. They would have liked a few more rounds of betting to make more money.
Oh,
Mina doesn't waste time.
Yes, if she wants to make a career out of underground boxing, she'll need to learn how to put on the show as much as win the fight.
I think she already has a career. Thank you. And Justine just like keeps calm, and she's like, she's not having it.
She very much enjoyed her time in the ring.
She did. She was very happy when she came.
Please, Monsieur, please may I let me accompany you on your walk. And Astrid is like,
no,
we're not that far from my mother's house. About a 10-15 minute walk.
Maybe next time. My apologies, Tito, but we're sorting some private matters.
Maybe, Tito, we could meet another time at a cafe.
Oh, that would be lovely. I am currently staying in one of the not quite so fancy areas as this, more the northern part of the city, the Montmartre region, I believe it is called.
Oh, so are we. That is funny. Yeah.
It's a very lively bohemian place.
Yeah, there is a lovely cafe.
There are many lovely establishments serving many manner of food and beverage.
This one very much specializes in pastries and coffee. You know, I know many of them do, but this particular one, it has an orange cat that is always hanging around. Are you near there?
I know the one. Yes, that would be lovely to meet up with you and catch up.
Yeah, perhaps at another time. Things are
quite busy at the moment.
We had an incident.
Well, if you were down there, I'm not. There's many things living beneath the city.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, and we met half of them.
And yeah.
So my apologies for the attitude and not being ready for the conversation.
Mademoiselle, please. I have lived a long life. I have much experience with the challenges of the road, shall we say. You do not ever need to apologize, mademoiselle, please.
And the surprises that lurk on the underbelly of any town.
Or the underbelly of any underbelly.
Yeah. Okay, well, perhaps, what shall we say? Tomorrow?
That sounds wonderful.
Okay, I think, in the meantime, Astrid, I think that we should get you home.
Astrid hands the comb back to Tito, says, "Thank you very much, monsieur." And Delacour gives him a very gentlemanly, polite nod.
Justine's just like, goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when he walks away, like kind of far enough, Justine is going to turn to Astrid and be like, so, before we bring you back to your mother, my dear friend, we need to decide what we're going to tell her. And even though I don't approve any of your methods, but if we just hand you over to your mother, she will lock you up and she will never let you see this man ever again. So we need to find out how to make you, pointing at the at Delacour very, very annoyingly, how to make you a good guy in this story.
Well, he saved Astrid's life.
This is Delacour says. I believe that the best thing to do is to be honest with Madame. I will reveal my true form, and also be sure to tell her of my love.
Trust her, trust me, that's not going to land well with her. That is not going to land well with her.
I know. Yes, you're going to hear a voice in your head saying, I know, but can we just pretend? You're going to hear Sylvia say in your head.
You seem like, not my problem. I want to go to bed. I have 14 mana left because of you fuckers. She's just like petting Anki.
Astrid, what do you think? Do you think that we should go with you? I think we should at least accompany you to the house. Your mother came to Madame Gauthier for help and enlisted us to aid getting you home. So I think maybe we should go to the house and then you can have your conversation.
Yes, we should just all go back to my house and we will talk to her.
Great. Let's go.
You can see Sylvia is just like, I did not want to get embroiled in like another couple's fucking bullshit.
I know. One is enough.
So you spend about 10-15 minutes walking along until you get to a very, very nice house. And Astrid and Delacour go up to the front and ring the bell. And a moment later, a maid opens the door, and when she sees Astrid, she flings her arms around her and pulls her in, and you hear exclaimed shouting. And are you guys gonna go in with them?
Yeah, well,
like yous are just like a meter or so away, seeing this up the steps.
If I were the mother, there would be like violence. So I think we should come in just just in case.
I want to see this through, you know, and I feel like Sylvia would really want to just see it through and just. Fine. But you know, Susie really wants to be a fly on the fucking wall when this goes down. That's for sure.
Yeah, Justine doesn't care
anymore. Justine's done. She's fucking done.
Justine's so done.
Cool.
We're gonna go and we're gonna get you a really fucking nice cake after and a really nice hot chocolate or a coffee.
So you follow in the door after the couple, and they go through the hallway left into a drawing room as Marion Lagarde is there, and she jumps up and grabs her daughter, hugging her, checking her face, just checking her for injuries, and then of course kind of standing off sheepishly to the side as she's in. Are you okay, my love? Are you okay? Did anything happen to you? Were you hurt in any way? And she's like, Mama, no, I'm fine. I am fine. I am totally okay. We did something stupid. We tried to escape through the catacombs. She goes, oh, what do you know? The catacombs? I said, honestly, I thought that the stories of creatures were just superstitious nonsense, but it was actually dangerous. There were horrible monsters there, but Lorraine protected me, and then our friends arrived, and as she says Lorraine's name, it's at that moment that Marion realizes he's standing there, and she turns and she walks up to him and she smacks him across the face with a loud stinging sound. You've like this woman is so reserved all the time. The one or two times you've met her at social functions, so to see her behaving like this is just shocking.
Justine is just like, told you. I told you. She's not saying anything, but she's like,
Yeah.
So, and Delacour doesn't move. He lets her land the hit, even though Sylvia, he probably could have dodged that pretty easily, but and she's shaking now at this stage, and she cries out, "Tea, please!" And a moment later, a maid comes in carrying a tray with a pot of tea and fine cups, and lays down. She says, "Thank you, I'll do it." And she's like, "Of course, madam." Curtsies and just heads out with a look. She's kind of glancing at all of you. She's like a look of genuine relief that Astrid is home safe. Daggers at Delacour and a curious, confused look at the rest of you. He's like, "Who the hell are you guys?" And Marion is trying to pour out the tea, but her hand is shaking. So Astrid comes up to her and says, "No, Mama, it's okay. I'll do it." And she pours out the tea for her. And she says things like, "Mama, I have to tell you something." And Marion's like, "Oh no, he didn't force himself on you, did he?" And she's like, "No." And he's like, "Madame, no, I did absolutely no." And she's like, "Mama," and you can see poor Astrid goes so bright red at such a suggestion, and she said, "No, we are in love and we wish to marry." And she just pauses. She pauses for a moment, and she's looking. She's like, you can see a flurry of emotions across her face as she's processing what her daughter's just said. "He wishes to marry you, my dear."
Sylvia is like very intently looking at Astrid's mother. She's like a little bit afraid of what she's going to say. Like you can see, like she's tense and ready to, like, if she even says anything mean to Astrid, she is in there to interject. Just
no, in fairness, all of Marion's comments towards Astrid have been ones of great distress and worry and love, not any sort of anger or anything at all like that. And Delacour goes up to her and very formally bows his head and says, "Madame, we had thought to elope, so you could not deny us, but that was wrong. And I now formally ask for the hand of your daughter. I love her dearly and wish to spend the rest of our lives together." And she's kind of looking at him. She's like so angry with him right now. And she says, "Oh, really? Of course. A young, beautiful man arrives in the city of Paris and sets his eyes on my sweet, innocent girl, due to inherit a fortune. And you happen to have fallen in love with her. Yes, monsieur, that is what I'm to believe. Love has brought you two together." And I says, "Mama, you don't understand." It's like, "Madame, I can tell you now, I have no interest in your daughter's wealth. I have no issues with accessing wealth myself. I know it is traditional for the family of the bride to pay a dowry to the family of the groom, but I am not a native to Paris and will be breaking with tradition." And he reaches into the folds of his jackets and he takes out a pretty sizable pouch of fine, heavy satin and drops it on the table with a thud. There's easily 200, 300, 400 coins in there. And she opens it up and you see her eyes go bright. And it's like, "Mon Dieu, who are you that you have such wealth that you would give away so carelessly?" And Astrid turns and says, "Well, Mama, it is a good thing that you're sitting down. Lorraine needs to reveal something to you." And she's looking at him and he takes 2 steps back and his form starts to shimmer and change and shift and contract into his true form as a Luthien, looking very similar to how he does look, maybe slightly more youthful, cherubic. And that's a great place to take a very quick pause because Neve is just about to jump on now. So if you'll give me one moment, folks, we will be, apologies, we will be back in literally just 2 seconds.
Okay, terrifying.
Okay, folks, and we are back, and we have a Neve with us. Just give me one moment while I add the captions. Apologies, and we will resume our story. And there we go. So, Delacour had just, as I said, revealed his true form to Astrid. Sorry, to Moraine. Okay, appearing in his true form as a Luthien. Okay, and seeing this, she exclaims. She is quite shocked, but it's just like, I never. You're a fae? I thought that maybe you were some cad who'd come disguising himself as a noble son or a bourgeois heir who was looking to land himself a rich wife, but you're fae? And Astrid is like, yes, and that's what we were. I mean, you know what sentiments have been like since the war, and that was why we fled. We were worried that maybe you would not approve of our union. Well, I'm going to need some time to think about this. This is quite a lot. You're my beloved daughter. You want to get married to a man that I do not know. I do not know your family. So I do not know if that even means anything, considering what you are. Okay. There is really only one thing that we can do. Monsieur, you will come back this evening for dinner. And you can see she is going into social niceties mode. She is sticking with what she knows. And that is how she's dealing with this situation. She is sticking with social decorum as what's happening.
I think the important thing is that Astrid is safe and all of us were able to safely travel from the catacombs and we are back here.
Yes, you are. And my dear friends, I don't know how I could possibly repay you. I will talk to Madame Gauthier.
We didn't do this for money. We wanted to help, you know.
Oh, you're so kind. You truly are.
Justine probably has something to say about that, but she's just too astonished by the reaction, because she fully expected it to be like a scandal, like a full blown like hysterics. She didn't expect Astrid's mother to take it that well. So she's missing the entire conversation.
Oh, she's not taking this well.
She's not taking it well. The woman's in a state of shock.
Well, she is, but at least like she's not. It's not. She's kind of open to the idea, because you still expected it to be completely like, you fucking go out. I'm locking Astrid in the house forever. So the fact that she invited him for dinner and like, I don't know, didn't call the police straight away, to Justine is like, excuse me?
Call the police on a ferry? What good would that be?
What would they do?
I don't know.
You know, like what could the police do to a Lucienne?
Yeah, well, Sylvia was worried that, you know, her mother might be harsh with her. So, like, she was fully in there to go into mama bear mode.
Justine expected all kinds of reaction, but not this one. I mean, yeah, she's not taking it well, but she's taking it as well as she can, all things considered, I guess.
Delacour changes his form back to his human form. Says, "You are most gracious and kind, Madame. I will leave you, of course, with your daughter, and I shall be back this evening. I look forward to being your guest." And he gives a nod, and he, Mademoiselles, to yourselves, and he leaves the house.
I think there's just like silence. I don't think anyone has anything to say.
No.
Madame Lagarde, I do have something stronger if the tea is not sufficient.
I will be fine, my dear. Thank you very much. You have been wonderful and gracious and like heroes of old, rescuing my daughter. You have no idea what thoughts were going through my mind. I'm just thankful that she is back home safe in her home with me. So, if you would excuse us, my daughter and I have to have a very long conversation, I feel.
Of course.
Yeah. So you guys all back your way out of the house. So when you get outside, Delacour is standing by the road.
As we go out, you can see Sylvia's just going to be like, fuck! Okay, that was rough.
I owe you all. If it was not for you, both me and my beloved would be dead. And my kind always pay our dues. So, would you please accept this gift? And he raises his hand, and there is 4 glowing beads of light.
Okay.
I suppose.
Yes?
Yes, I accept the gift.
Okay. And each bead of light, I'm going to add it as well, streaks out and strikes you all each. You have each been gifted with a boon of Fey luck. Once
Ooh.
per day, you can add a +5 to any ability roll, and this resets at dawn.
Holy moly, that's massive.
Well, you just saved the life of a Fey creature and his love, and the Fey take those kind of deaths very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So you can add this to your character sheets. Boon of Fey luck, +5 to one roll
Nice.
once per day. Yes.
Awesome.
Nice.
This is a fun mechanic in the game that if you do stuff where you like really help a Fey creature and they feel like they owe you a favor, they will gift you a boon of Fey luck. And also you can get one mechanically if you roll a nat 20 on a roll that might have resulted in your character dying. Then you're believed to have been graced by the gods themselves, and you just get a boon of luck.
Fair.
Mr. Delacour, I do have questions. Do you know anything about those creatures?
No, I do not. I have no idea. I have never seen that kind here or in the Fey realm. They are much further afield.
Do you think they were something that was perhaps created more than are natural?
They are Fey. They are certainly Fey creatures. They are not some sort of a construction. But no. I just do not know. They are certainly not from France, Spain, Arcadia, Germany. I mean, I have not travelled much in my short time on this earth, but I have travelled a bit, and definitely nothing that I have ever come across before. Very curious. I might ask some of my elders.
If you could keep us informed, we'd be grateful.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, yes. Well, if you will forgive me, I am quite tired. So I will be going home. I must freshen before dinner this evening with hopefully my future mother-in-law.
If you ever put Astrid in danger again...
I swear, mademoiselle, we did not know creatures like that lived beneath your city. What kind of creatures do you humans let live beneath you?
Well, none of us are from Paris. None of us knew they were there.
And if anything, they were fake creatures.
No, of course, but...
Well, the necromancer, he needs to be dealt with. Not today, but another day.
Yes, well, if you would kindly forgive me, I must say adieu, and I'm sure we will see each other again very soon.
All right.
Indeed.
But, yeah, just, I know that you are in love and probably not thinking clearly, but do try not to be reckless.
We will be a lot more sensible with our hearts and our lives now. Hopefully we will have Astrid's mother's blessing. She doesn't appear to be a woman who cares for base wealth, but I do think that I convinced her that I was not seeking her daughter for her dowry.
Well, she cares for her daughter, but you know.
In my brief time that I've spent in Parisian circles, there were many young bourgeois men who had mentioned Astrid's name as a very, very desirable catch, was the phrase that was used repeatedly. A beautiful and very wealthy woman who would give an extremely large dowry to her husband.
Well, you know, there are a lot of men who, you know, they see women as another acquisition and means to getting more wealth.
Exactly. Whereas, obviously, I do not. Those things are meaningless for me.
We will see.
Well, I bid you adieu. And thank you again. And he heads off.
What an idiot. What did he think would happen taking her through
Well,
the catacombs?
I think that he thought the catacombs were empty, but that is so stupid.
It's so stupid. Why not just, if he's so wealthy, why not just hire a carriage and get out of here?
Well,
I don't trust him.
yes, this is sensible, hire a carriage. I mean, Lisbeth and I walked, I snuck out of my home during the night and I walked all night, and she left in the very early morning. But we didn't decide, let's go through. Not that there's anything like that in Berlin, but it's just so reckless, and I'm so annoyed that he would do that. Still, I'm glad that everybody was safe, and hopefully Astrid's mother won't kill him.
He'll be lucky. So now we have that necromancer to deal with.
Not today.
No.
Definitely not today.
Definitely
You
not
guys
today.
are tapped out.
I have 14 mana left. 1-4.
Yeah. Like every one of you were hitting both mana receptacles in that fight. So yeah.
I do not normally suggest this during the day, but I think we could all do with a drink.
Use a
of
drink.
something.
I agree.
It's about,
I was thinking the very same.
It's about 4:30, maybe somewhere between 4:30 and
About
5
time.
in the afternoon. So
Then it's definitely time
Yeah.
to go to a
Perfect.
fucking pub
yeah,
and
absolutely.
get a really nice meal
That's-
and have something really fucking nice to drink.
Yeah, cool, super. So you guys find a nice place. And, excuse me. You guys can decide whether you find a nice bar somewhere, or a restaurant, or whatever you want. Thanks to the combs of cleanliness, you all are presentable. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's not an issue. So you guys can decide where you want to go and how much you want to spend.
Are there would there be like really nice bars that do food as well?
Why not? Who cares?
I think we deserve a treat.
Like, if
Feeling
you
a bit
want to
lavish.
go to a nice pub, well, it's Paris, so there'd be bars that does food. Then we say they exist in this world because it doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do a wiki search of whether drinking establishments in late 19th century Paris served food. Okay. It's not important to the story at all.
And just like decompress, chill the fuck out. We're meeting Tito tomorrow in Montmartre, in the cafe with the cat.
He knew what you were talking about. There's this like fat orange tabby that's always outside the thing, so he knew what you were talking about.
In Montmartre, and I was like, I know this is really vague, but it's a spectacularly fat cat.
Yeah, so he knew exactly what you were talking about. He's seen the fat tabby cat,
It's iconic.
Yeah. So, with the party in having a very, very well-deserved decompress of fine food and fine dining, planning to go home after a couple of hours, so you are in bed by maybe 10 or 11, because you all need a good night's sleep. Okay, it's going to take like a couple of days to replenish those mana receptacles.
Yeah, I know.
If you want to face that necromancer. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, I think that is a perfect place to pause in our story. So folks, don't go too far. We'll be back in just over 5 minutes, okay? To find out what is happening with our heroes next.
Okay. I'm going to go.
Guys, I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Hopefully not too long. get on with your lesson, Eve? Oh. Yeah, of course. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Most, I mean, look, I'm sure you'll do great, but at the same time, most people fail their first time. Yeah, most people do it the second time. So, yeah, that's perfectly. Not great. I've got this nasty tummy bug that gave me, so I didn't go in today. And what's really annoying is I wanted to go to my GP so I could get a doctor's cert and maybe get tomorrow off as well. But there he said the earliest they could see me was fucking Thursday. Well, I mean the thing is gastroenteritis stuff is usually spread through exchange of bodily fluids, which happens when you've got a 4-year-old licking your face, sticking her snot-covered hands in your mouth, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, anyway, everybody, Lena, you good? The aubergine was spared, was it? Okay. Yes. Okay, right. Well, I'm going to transition us across, okay? Okay, folks. Thank you for sticking around and welcome back to Faearth, our indie TTRPG set in an alternate 19th century Earth where all the creatures from folklore and fairy tale are real, have always been real and live alongside humanity. My name is Neil, my pronouns are he, him, and I am the creator of this fun little crazy game. So, when last we left our heroes, they had emerged victorious from the catacombs of Paris, having saved the foolish lovers who had fled into its dangerous depths. Their relatively new but quite endearing friend Astrid Lagarde had returned home with her love, Lorraine Delacour, who it turns out is a luthian, that is a fairy in French folklore. And he revealed his true form to her mother, gave her a very, very, very big purse of coin to prove that he was not wanting to marry Astrid for her dowry. You know, he's a fairy. He doesn't need to worry about money. He's loaded. And her mother, not quite knowing how to deal with this sudden avalanche of very, very alarming information, did what is done best. She kept her decorum and has arranged for dinner this evening where they shall all sit down as civilized individuals and discuss the matter. She was very graciously thankful to our party, saying she's going to have to reward them in some way. When they left the house, Delacour was waiting for them, and he has rewarded them. For saving both his life and the life of his beloved, he has gifted each member of the party with a boon of Phaelok. This is a really fun mechanic in the game, which allows the players to roll advantage. That's a +5 roll to any one ability check once per day. And what's great about this is you get to decide after you've rolled whether you want to use the +5. So you don't need to declare beforehand. You can roll and then decide, which is what makes it, even though it's once a day, it's really clutch. So
there is no pressure to use it, unlike the inspiration die.
Yes. Oh, we had these in our last campaign, and the feckers were still terrible at remembering. For like 3 or 4 levels after they got these boons of Phaelok, they kept forgetting. And the only
we didn't need them constantly, you know.
So anyway, so the party had a very enjoyable evening of fine dine and drink. You guys can decide how much you want to spend. Like a couple of silver would probably be, you know, if you're going super posh and really fancy, maybe 5 or 6 silver, you guys decide and deduct it from your character sheets, okay? And you all eventually head home, long night's rest. You all have a undisturbed long night's rest. Your mana is restored. Okay.
Great. Double level plus fortitude, resolve.
Hardiness and willpower.
Okay.
Okay. So you regain grit equal to your fortitude plus your resolve plus the hardiness modifier plus the willpower modifier plus 2 times your level after a long rest. It's been a while since you've had to use that mechanic to heal.
So, sorry, resolve, willpower, 6, 7.
Now, just something that I wanted to explain regarding the mana receptacles that Justine has made. Before they can be recharged, they must be fully spent.
Yeah, no, I know. I got that.
Oh, mine are both fully spent.
No, but just in case anybody had a couple of mana left from the one that you gave them, that has to be fully spent before you can recharge it. I know that.
Well, I've 32. Oh no, wait, sorry, that's none of my mana, right? Yeah, no, fine, cool, no worries.
So, I don't care. You guys can decide. If you had like 15 mana left, you can totally decide where that 15 mana was coming from. Was it coming from your own internal source of arcane power? Was it coming from the much more expensive permanent mana receptacles you got off Josephine Gautier, or from the very powerful but nonetheless temporary mana receptacles that Justine has made? You decide that yourselves. I don't mind, but if Justine is to recharge the mana receptacles that she has made for you, she cannot do it if there's any mana left. It must be fully spent.
Yep.
Do I have to recharge them, or can they recharge them?
No, you're the sorcerer. It's your spell.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So it is going to take a couple of days.
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, they don't have the mana receptacle spell, so they literally don't have the spell to empower an object and make it a mana receptacle.
Fair.
So,
I kind of had an impression that, like, since it's already made into a mana receptacle, maybe they could recharge, but that's fine.
No.
I could do it.
See, that's the ones that you buy off an artificer. Anyone can do them. But
Yeah.
the temporary ones that sorcerers
Gotcha.
can make with that 3rd level spell, they're tied to the sorcerer who creates it. That's how it works. Which is why it's a balancing thing, because like it's a really cool item to have in your arsenal, but this is like the fact that it can only be used 3 times and these kind of limits on who recharges it is how I've tried to balance it so it doesn't become a stupidly broken, overpowered object.
Okay. So we have a bit of time before we're meeting Tito.
Yeah. Like, you guys tell me whatever it is that you want to do today. Do you want to swing over to Amana to see how she is? Whatever you want to do.
I'm probably going to hang out with everybody else in Montmartre instead of go back.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite curious. There are 2 things that I'm wondering about. The necromancer. I'm wondering if Madame Gautier knows anything about who he is. And then I'm also wondering if the druids know anything about the fucking mantle creatures that we encountered.
And also, don't forget that we almost started an investigation into our dear friend Baron. And
oh, yes. Also that.
Why are you investigating the Baron? He's totally normal and sexy and cool.
Exactly, that's why.
Yeah. Well, the creatures are more immediate, but yes. So
I think Baron is probably a bit more immediate, no? Because creatures, it looks like they've been dwelling in the catacombs for long and they don't seem to bother anyone really, unless you bother them. But I'm very curious to know who they are as well and what they are.
Well, I want to...
Sorry to interrupt, Sylvia. Is Justine basically spending the day recharging one of the mana receptacles?
Well, she's probably going to... The thing is, she's probably going to recharge the permanent mana receptacle first.
Yeah. So you guys can all recharge your permanent mana receptacles.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, I'll do that too.
Yeah, I'm going to do that too, but...
Well,
I'm going to wait until the end of the day to do it, actually, because,
I will be back in a moment. can you three continue your
Mhm.
conversation of what you're planning?
No.
Gwyn is more than happy to spend the day
Yeah.
speculating with Justine about the Baron while I fill the mana receptacle.
Yeah.
No, I want to go out to the druids, see if they know any,
Yeah.
and try and do research into that. I'm wondering if it's worth asking Madame Gautier if she knows anything about some fucking nutjob sorcerer who ran off into the catacombs.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I also think it's like worth checking the library, because we're about to go to Druids and check the library for the Baron anyway. And your man mentioned some legends of creatures and catacombs. So there must be something somewhere in archives. And
so
would
I'm
be very
hoping
much.
we can do that at least before we go to meet Tito.
Well, we can visit Druids at least. I think library might be
Would be a stretch, yeah.
would be
And
a
I
bit
can
of a
pop a
stretch.
message to Madame Gautier.
Because
This is gonna be the first time Sylvia has met another druid.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal.
Yeah. Also, like, I don't know if they're gonna believe that she's a druid. It's just gonna be like,
Are you gonna ask them about Lisbeth, or
why ask them what about Elizabeth?
just about like her lineage? Where
What do you
that
mean?
sort of thing? Does that matter?
But ask what about Elizabeth?
I just thought they might have a record of all the different druids and where, like, who their teachers were.
Elizabeth isn't a druid. She was Sylvia's wife.
Oh, sorry. I thought yeah. No, not Lisbeth, the druid who taught you.
Oh, Aika.
Aika.
She's I don't know. I mean, see, here's the funny thing about the Mosleita. They don't ever give their names. Sylvia was told, you can call me by this name, but there is a story about a man who married a Mosleita. They went on to have children. They had a very happy life together. And when they were really in love, everything was great. And she said to him, she told him her name, which was a big deal. And she said, "You're never to call me by my name." And one day he did. And she was like, "Why would you do that? What I told you to never do that." And she vanished with their children, and he never saw her again.
Whoa.
Yeah. So Sylvia kind of can't because
you don't know the name.
She doesn't really have a name that she can use. So yeah.
That's that then.
Yeah, no, like I did research into it's actually like really hard to find any information on Mosleita. It's like very specifically German thing, and it's kind of obscure, but
interesting.
Near as I can figure, they're kind of. There's another one where they what was it? They met a woodwife. They gave her bread, and she gave them tons of silver, or they gave her silver and she gave them tons of bread. I can't remember. I read all this stuff.
Probably gave them bread, maybe, I would say.
I don't know. I just remember bread being a big
big part of the story.
Silver being a thing. But
okay.
Yeah. So but
Sorry,
I think
guys, I'm back. So what's the plan?
I think we're going to the Druids.
Okay, yeah.
We're going to the Druids.
I was doing a little bit of a lore dump about the Mosleita.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. Christina isn't here, so I can't ask her if I'm pronouncing that right still.
Cool, right? So you're gonna go to the Druids, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, so the Druids, they've got a small little place. It's a small little abbey in the city, not very big. Okay, only like 3 stories high. Large, kind of maybe about 60-70 meters wide building. Like, it's not a massive building. Okay, You've never, I don't think, Sylvia, you've ever actually visited, have you?
No, I've never even met another druid.
Oh, okay, right. Well, this should be interesting. Okay. So you travel to the Druid's headquarters. You do actually need to ask for some directions from people, and a few people don't know, but you eventually find your way. It takes you about an hour to find it because you have no idea where you're going, and you're not familiar with Paris, and it's a vast city, okay? But eventually you do get into the into the office, or sorry, into the building itself, the headquarters, okay? And you go into a lobby area. Excuse me. And when you go in, you see there's a young woman. Looks like she's in her maybe early 20s. Pretty dark hair, and she's riding in a leisure. She's wearing traditional druids ceremonial brown robes. She sees you all, and she says, "Bonjour. Ça va? How may I help you?"
Hello. My name is Sylvia Bauer, and I am a druid.
She kind of, when you say that, she immediately gives you a ooh, up and down. Because you're not, sorry to interrupt you, you are in no way dressed like a typical...
Oh, I know, I'm going to explain. I was not formally inducted into the order, but I was trained by a Mosleuter after the war in the forest. I do not use the traditional staff. I'm just going to start showing the wooden discs that Sylvia carries on her belt.
You were trained by a fae in druidry?
Yeah, so I was not formally inducted into the order.
Mademoiselle, please. I will have to immediately notify his Excellence Amaras. Oh, please. I've never met a member, a druid who's any caster of any ilk who's ever been trained by a fae before.
So I don't have a rank or formal standing in the order, and I realize that.
I'll be back in 1 minute. She runs through a door, like she literally kicks her, like knocks her chair over, and she sprints out the door.
I believe, like, I imagine that, like, during this exchange, Justine and Gwyn just like exchanging proud looks. Justine's like, yeah. That's our girl. That's her.
I'm just kind of like, did I do that wrong? Like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So after about like 6 or 7,
I actually didn't think that I would be seen at all. So this is amazing.
After about 6 or 7 minutes, she comes back walking quickly, and standing beside her is this striking figure, a man, human man, not fae touched, in his mid-50s, tall, lean frame, draped in flowing brown druidic robes, but ordained with intricate Celtic patterns and symbols. He has long, unkempt hair which cascades down his shoulders, framing a weathered face, marked by lines of wisdom and introspection. He has piercing eyes, the colour of deep forest green, that seem to, like, almost as if they hold the secrets of centuries past. And he gives off this incredibly profound aura. It's just, Your Excellency, this is her. She says she was trained by a fae. I says, thank you, my dear. As he comes up to you, says, bonjour, my name is Emile Almaras. I am the High Druid here in Paris. I have been told by my acolyte that you are a member of our order, but one who has not gone through the traditional training. Rather, you were...
Yeah, this is true. So I realized...
trained by a fae.
Yeah, this is true.
This is truly incredible. This is fascinating. I have not heard of this happening in centuries. Please, we must. We have much to discuss. And he's gesturing for you to come in. Please, you and all your friends. Please. This is incredible.
Okay, so these are my friends. This is Gwyn Elvendale and Justine Dumore, a witch and a sorcerer, respectively.
So,
So I realized that I obviously do not have any formal ranks within the order. So I appreciate
Shut up, Jesus
that
Christ.
you are willing to see us.
You are a druid who is trained by a fey creature.
Yeah.
This has
So
not happened in, I think, nearly 300 years.
oh well.
We have much to discuss. Please, please, please. And he leads you through this. It's not incredibly big, but he's like leading you through a couple of corridors until you eventually come into what's clearly his office. It's a very nice office. It's a big office, big, massive oak chest, oak desk, really comfy chairs. This guy's clearly high ranking. Yeah.
I love big oak
Yeah.
tables.
And he says, please, please, mademoiselle, sit down, please. I do not know where to start. Which manner of fae was it that trained you?
Amos Loiter.
Oh, woodwife. Yes, of course. There are none of them here in France, but obviously they're very common in
Of
Arcadia
course.
and in Germany, Switzerland, Austria, but yes, and of course it makes sense that with her magics of forest and earth that you would naturally be drawn to our path of the druidic order. This is truly incredible. And how did you come up? How did you find yourself in this situation where you were blessed with the knowledge of one of these ancient beings of the forest? And you can see as he's saying this with a combination of reverence and envy.
Oh no. Okay. Well, I was formerly a soldier in the Prussian army.
You fought in the war?
Fought, but yeah.
And you can see like a look of genuine compassion and regret for your suffering when you say, I was a soldier in this, what was an horrific war. I'm so very sorry. I have many friends who I lost in that terrible conflict.
I understand that many magic users were conscripted.
Well, we were not conscripted. We were volunteering as healers to try and help save those.
Of course, on the last day. Yeah. Anyway, I was in the hospital and I left. My memories are not. My mind was shattered by the war, so my memories are not very good.
Yes,
from this
many
time.
soldiers' minds were broken by the horrors of this war. Of course.
Anyway, I left. My wounds became infected. I found myself in a forest, in a grove, and she found me and she healed me. So,
sure. His eyes are like nearly tearing up as you tell him this story. Like he is so enthralled with your account.
Sylvia is kind of wanting to so fuck ton of trauma. It was really, really awful. Lost my wife. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, magic.
To have been restored to life by the magic of the forest and then
so
trained in its arts.
So I was near death.
Truly,
But
you were chosen.
I wasn't chosen. I fell into a grove. But anyway,
I believe you were led there. The fact that Mademoiselle, the fact that we are having this conversation right now leads me to believe that you were led there. You are clearly a powerful woman who is destined for great things.
I was a very broken soldier who had lost all of my friends and my beloved. And anyway, but so I had, which was the name that she gave me.
Sometimes we must be broken in order to be rebuilt stronger than we were before. And clearly you are a woman of great strength. I can tell that. Just looking at you, I can tell it. Great strength, great wisdom, clearly great compassion. Would you agree, mademoiselles, to Justine and Gwyn?
Absolutely.
Yes, of course. Yes. Sorry. Excuse me, mademoiselle, for interrupting you. Please forgive me. I have been studying this my entire life, and to meet you is like meeting a great hero walking from a myth.
Anyway, Aika, which was the names she said I could call her by.
I believe that the woodwives, they do not share the names. If you do share if you speak their name, they will disappear.
This is true, yeah. So she had met
Is that ash?
oak.
Oak. Sorry, my German. It's only so. Yes.
No, it's
Oak.
but
Delightful.
so
Ike. Lovely. Ike. He's listening to you as he's muttering to himself.
Anyway, she had met druids before, and she had said, because obviously the magic of the Fae is completely innate, so there were some issues with teaching me, because for her the magic is innate, and obviously as a human I need a focus for my power. So she taught me how to carve. She taught me the own language, and she taught me how to carve it. So I could channel myself, and I'm gonna start showing him the discs.
She knew. Oh.
Well,
wait,
she had met druids.
Previously met druids, so they obviously had,
not in it had been 100 years.
So she had used our ancient alphabet as the intermediary, allowing you to harness the power that is a part of her blood.
Yeah, it turns out that without knowing, I have the arcane spark.
Well, she must have sensed it in you as Fae. She could sense this. And the young woman, the acolyte's coming in with a tray of tea. And she's like really nervous and she's kind of looking at you with adoration. Like,
oh my
really
God.
Nervous. Says, yes, my dear, please leave them. I will serve them. Thank you, my dear. You're doing wonderful work today. Thank you so much. And he's like, she's a wonderful young girl. She's a bit shy. She needs encouragement all the time, but she's truly wonderful. I think in a few more years she will be quite brilliant young girl. So sorry, mademoiselle. I'd interrupted you again. Sorry. I'm just so enthralled in your tale.
Okay. What else would you like to know? I suppose,
mademoiselle, I could spend hours. Literally, I could spend days discussing with you your experience in the forest, being trained in our arcane arts by that magical, beautiful creature. I could keep you locked away in a room with me, surrounded by our tomes for many moons, discussing this, just to get a fraction of a glimpse of the beauty that you experienced in your period of learning and growth. Truly, this is a story we will be telling our acolytes for decades to come. Mademoiselle, do you realize how incredibly special and unique you are?
I think that I found myself in very unique circumstances that led me to learn magic in a very different way to many others.
No, that is not. The common person finds themselves in a random happenstance. You are clearly not a common. You are fated. You were fated to have this happen to you. Absolutely, I am certain of it. I am certain to my core that this is true. And I am so thankful that we have gotten to meet each other.
Well, the reason that my friends and I have come is we were hoping that as emissaries between the human world and the Fae, perhaps you might be able to shed some light on a situation that we are dealing with currently. Justine?
What situation?
Oh yeah, one of our we have concerns for one of our friends. We are not quite sure what kind of situation she is in. Basically, we met this handsome, tall, dark, young man. Is he young? Sorry.
He's like, it's hard to tell. He could be late 20s.
Yeah.
He could be early 30s. He's
he's at that point where
you're not sure. Is it that he's in his 30s, or is it just that he's ridiculously ruggedly handsome? He's one of those kind of guys. Yeah.
Basically, there is a man, and he may be too good to be true. He comes from Bulgaria, and Justine,
yeah, I have a familiar. Meet Anklegon the Great.
Oh my lord! Oh, you are just a precious little being, aren't you? Oh, who is such a good little boy? Who? And you see him waving a hand, and he conjures up some berries,
Yeah.
and he starts trying
Oh,
to
Anki.
feed them to Anki. He's
Anki's cheap. Anki is sold.
boy,
Like
you're
he's
such a good little boy. And he's just scratching him in that spot just underneath his jawline that Anki loves. He's like, how did he know? This guy clearly knows his fairy dragons. Oh, you're the best little boy. You're such a good little boy, aren't you? Oh, you're such a... I'm sorry, I love animals. I'm sorry. Excuse me, mademoiselles.
Me
I
too.
adore animals. Oh, you are so... So we have a woman gifted with the art of magic by a fey creature of the forest. You, mademoiselle, I'm assuming are a sorcerer, yes?
Indeed.
You have the look of a sorcerer.
Justine is not sure, like, if she should take it as a compliment from this man or not, but she will take it as a
A
compliment.
sorcerer who's clearly powerful, but also pure enough of heart that she is bonded with a creature of magic. And, mademoiselle, what are you, the daughter of a dragon? I mean, seriously, what the company you're keeping? Like,
If only. Life would be so much
Yeah,
easier.
pretty much. You should have seen her fireballs.
Well, in a manner of speaking, I suppose. No, I'm human also, but I was taught magic by my family.
Ah, you are the witch, yes?
Hmm.
Familial magic traditions. They're very old, very powerful, as old as our magics, and as
Yes.
powerful.
Especially the ones born of rage and wrath.
Unfortunately, that can lead down a dark path.
But we are concerned
Sorry, I
about
interrupted you. There's some man that you are...
Yes. So as soon as he approached, I assume you know how the connection with the familiar works.
I mean, obviously, it's not quite
Of
like
course.
the kinship that a druid can have with their animal companion, but it is similar. So I would have a good, strong theoretical knowledge and a mild familiarity with it. Yes.
As soon as this man approached, I felt fear coming from Anclagon, like I've never felt before, and like he's never felt before. And I found him in a fey forest. So in his entire life,
yes,
he's never encountered something that he perceived as dangerous.
So
it was...
So something to be aware of with these creatures. They are very small. They don't have many predators, but they are still quite small and vulnerable. I believe in the Fey realm they are more prone to predation because there are much larger, more powerful creatures there. So, but as an animal, they would instinctively recognize a dangerous predator.
And if we tell you about all our stories and the situations we've been in and monsters we fought, it would have taken weeks. And he's never felt anything like that.
This is alarming.
We fought ogres, we fought elves, we fought sorcerers.
Wait.
But it's just one elf.
That's not.
What do you mean, just one elf? It was an elf. You fought an elf, and you were not dead.
That's not the point of the story. Yes.
That's a very big story, mademoiselle. You fought.
That's what I was saying. Why did I say it? Anclagon never felt like that. That's what I'm saying.
Is the point, or is it just Justine is trying to make? Is that as his fear? He has never been so afraid, you know.
What is this man's name? Sorry, mademoiselle.
Ivan.
What's his name?
Christina's not here to save you all.
Back. Where's
it is Baron Stratsmere.
Von Stratsmere. Ivan von Stratsmere.
Ivan Stratsmere. That's his name.
Ivan Stratsmere.
Also, my question.
He writes this down on a piece of paper. Yes.
Can we say that, like, Aminata was with us the entire time?
Yeah, that's fine.
And can we assume that you probably told us about her exhaustion damage?
So I will say this to you all: if Aminata was with you all, when you see her in the morning,
we'd see it.
She looks even more exhausted than she did yesterday. She is looking gaunt. She is looking exhausted. Her complexion is becoming ashen. She is noticeably exhausted.
So our friend is, as you can see, she is not. Actually, I'm going to just cast restoration on her.
Now hold on. Let me just. Apologies.
I can remove exhaustion damage. I'm going to do that now.
Okay, so Yes, you do have restoration. So yes.
Yes.
Just give me how much mana are you spending on this?
So I haven't used this spell before.
She looks very
Um,
exhausted.
So
It's a base
this just
cost of
removes.
6. Yes, it does.
So
but-
this just removes the grit cap
yeah.
from mechanically it removes the grit cap.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Try. Let me try to detect magic. Detect magic first,
Sure. Cast.
just in case if I can find like a curse
Yeah,
or.
no,
or
no,
something
no,
like
absolutely. Well, detect magic won't necessarily detect a curse. That's not how that works. It detects
Mm.
active spells and magic items, and curses are different.
Still.
Yeah.
Still worth checking.
You cast detect magic, and you detect the magic items that you guys have on you, and it looks like this druid has some stuff around the room with him as well.
Yeah, but nothing.
But nothing off Aminata that she doesn't carry, like a ring and stuff that you already know about.
Yeah, I don't. So like the spell description.
So if we say here, to remove the ill effect caused by any spell of a level higher to or less than the restoration, the caster must simply spend the mana to cast a spell restoration. For spell-like effects of fey creatures, the narrator will determine any additional mana costs. But if the effect was placed by a powerful higher level spell or by a fey creature, such as a she-lord or certain types of giant as examples, so very powerful fey, the success becomes more difficult.
Okay.
As well as spending the mana required as above, the caster must succeed a magic roll versus the spell might of the person who caused the curse being removed. If they fail the magic roll, the spell fails, but they still spend the mana. So I need you to tell me, how much mana do you think you'd be pumping into this?
Okay, I'm gonna if she's looking progressively worse.
Like she wasn't looking great yesterday. She's looking 10 times worse today.
Okay, I'm gonna spend. I'm gonna.
It's a base cost of 6, so think of it in terms of multipliers of your base level to cast a spell as a guide for how much you should spend.
I'm going to spend 30.
So that's 5 times multiplier. So that's pretty hefty. Okay. So just give me 1 second, my dear. I need you to give me a magic casting roll.
So I don't just cast it. Fuck.
This apparently, whatever is causing this, as your magic hits it, your healing restorative magic hits it, you realize whatever's happened, she is under an extremely powerful effect.
Don't forget about your inspiration.
I know. I rolled a
+5.
13 plus
And
my
your fairy
magic is
boon.
17, and I'm gonna use my inspiration dice.
Yeah.
And also +5 for the.
And you have the boon of fairy luck as well.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna do that anyway. So I got 17 plus 5, 22, and then I'm gonna use my inspiration dice. That's a 7. That's a 29.
Okay, so
I got a 29 on a magic roll.
Yeah, you used an additional inspiration die and your once per day boon of fairy luck.
Yeah.
You send out your healing energies towards her, and as it hits, you feel this heavy, dark presence, as if something has been feeding off her very life essence itself. And you cut away at, it almost feels like it's in your mind. It's almost like you're picturing dark vines or roots,
Like a tether.
or no, like thinking more like roots of a plant burrowing into the soil to seep away the nutrients. And so
it's like Japanese knotweed.
So with your magic, you envision that and you burn it away, fully restoring Aminata's max grit, but not her current grit.
Okay, well, you know what? That's something.
Aminata, it's not our business, but maybe you should spend a few nights with us.
Perhaps, yes.
So, anyway, just to tell you, I cast that spell now. It took quite a lot of my power, and it felt as though there was, a dark I'll describe the whole like dark presence, like vines. Sylvia using plant metaphors. Who knew?
That is. It would seem that perhaps there is some sort of creature that is feeding on your friend.
Yeah. So we were wondering if you had any information on Faye that did this kind of thing, perhaps. If it is indeed the Baron who is doing this, he is not native to France. He is from Bulgaria.
Yeah. I will have to confer with my colleagues. We will go to our libraries. We will look through our collections, and I will get back to you very quickly. Where could I contact you?
Oh, I'm gonna give the address of where we are.
Okay. Thank you very much.
In Montmartre.
Thank you. We should have an answer for you in approximately 1 day.
Oh, thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you. If you would be free at all at any stage to come and talk to my brethren, my sisters, and I about your experience, your training with the Woodwife, we would love to hear more of it.
Okay. I suppose it's obviously very different to the way you would have learned. So,
as I said, the last time I heard a story of this, it was centuries ago. You are truly a special person to have been with magic in such a way, Madame.
I fell into a grove.
You were guided by the fates.
But I am someone who I have always loved flowers. Before I was in the army, I used to. My father ran a flower stall in Berlin, and I have always been very good at caring for flowers and all of that. So it makes
that is
sense.
Wonderful to hear. I'm also a great lover of nature. I've spent much of my life trying to fight against this creep of industrialization that is scarring our land, and as we saw in the recent war, the scars on the land from that.
Well, the land and everyone who was there. I think we owe everything to the healers who volunteered to help.
Was there anything else that you were hoping to discuss with me? Any other questions you had to ask?
Oh, yeah. Also, there is a story, but perhaps we could leave the story for another day. We were in the catacombs.
The catacombs.
And we encountered these terrible creatures, and I'll give the description of the
dwarf-like beings, weird claws instead of hands, and he's writing down a description like, this does not sound familiar to me, but yet again, we have extensive records. We will search in our library. I will hopefully have some information for you tomorrow.
Yeah, the catacombs are very dangerous. There's also a demented necromancer running around.
There's a what?
Yeah, he's a sorcerer, I think. He was able to dispel
Then he was
magic.
A sorcerer, yes.
Yeah, but he had skeletons doing his bidding, and it was very unpleasant.
Disgusting corruption of life and death.
Yeah, I agree. So he is someone who needs to be dealt with, but another day. But was there anything else?
No, I think that's it.
There were the two main things, yeah. And it seems like, thanks to your introduction via the once in multiple generations, chosen one.
Jesus Christ.
You have a pretty solid in there now,
I was genuinely like, so I'm a druid, not in your order, but I was trained by Faye, and can we look in your archives?
Normal.
And I genuinely thought they'd be like, yeah, sure you are, fuck off.
Yeah, that's totally normal. Oh yeah, I was trained with the Fae, because that happens every day. Okay. Right. So what do you guys want to do? I mean, we're going to finish up now in a minute. I know we're finishing a bit early, but I'm sorry, my wonderful viewers. My tummy is it's held out as best it could tonight, and I'm sorry for the interruptions to our stream. But before we finish up, is there anything else that you like? You're meeting Tito for coffee tonight in the
Mm,
Cafe Montmartre where the fat tabby cat lives.
yes.
Hmm. I will probably head to Josephine's for the afternoon.
Yeah.
Tell her about the necromancer and the crab creature things,
Yeah.
Yeah.
her brain, and then meet the
Yeah.
others at the restaurant cafe.
And I would say Justine would try to check out the library and just to try like and find something out first, because she can't just like sit idly and think about at least about like she'll try to search about
Yeah.
probably like Balkan folklore first, because she's more concerned about Aminatas and some creatures lurking underneath Paris.
Okay. Well, okay.
Mm.
We'll say that that's what's going to happen, and you will eventually. You had after several hours, you meet up with Tito at the agreed point. But I think this is a good place to pause in our story tonight. We will next week start with coffee with this weird, mysterious traveler that you've bumped into several times. Okay,
Mhm.
and see what's happening there. But thank you
Intriguing.
all so much for joining us tonight. We hope you had as much fun as we did. We shall see you again next week, same bad time, same bad channel. So good night, all. Bye.
Mm.